The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
We are back, Comfortably Zoned Radio, and it is Nancy Finley hosting the A's Show, Athletics, Past, Present, and Future. I'm Ralph Tyko with the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, and Nancy is going to take over and introduce a returning guest who has been honored to throw out the first pitch in a baseball game at the Oakland Coliseum. And it just happens to be the team that we're talking about, the Oakland A's, and it's Michael's favorite team. So take it away, Nancy. Have a great
interview.
Thank you,
Ralph.
There you go.
I am so pleased to have Dennis Miguel, my good friend and dedicated A's fan, here today. And I'm excited Dennis is throwing the first pitch this weekend. Dennis, how do you feel about getting up there on the pitcher's mound and throwing that pitch?
Well, Nancy, Ralph, I'm pretty excited. You know, from when I was a little boy, I always dreamed I was going to be a big leaguer, and I always thought, you know, that I'd be a big leaguer and I'd be up on that mountain one of these days. Well, part of that dream came true, so pretty excited. A lot of my family's going to be there, and just never imagined 50 years ago, you know, as a little boy going to the Coliseum, that I'd be on that mound throwing the first pitch out someday. So pretty excited and honored.
And I have to say, I have to go back to this. You are the only one who has a bite taken out of your, is it 1970 yearbook by our mascot, Charlie O.
Correct.
Can't forget, I know, that's just so unique.
I'll run that story real quick. My dad, we had went to the A's Orioles game, and he had just bought me a new A's yearbook program, and I'm thumbing through it and looking at it. Me and my brother were sitting there, and right before all the A's games, they would walk Charlie O around the field before the A's games, and so it was me and my brother and my father, and my father yells out to the cowboy that was walking Charlie O if he said that my son wanted Charlie O's autograph, so he spins the mule around, comes back, comes right up to us because we were there on the first row on the visitor side, and I asked my dad for my yearbook, and my dad grabs it, just bought it for me, grabs it out of my hand and hands it to the cowboy. Cowboy sticks it in front of Charlie O. Charlie O bites off the corner, and he gives it back to me. And at that time, I have to admit, I wasn't very happy little boy, but you know, almost 50 years later, pretty excited. That's kind of a special moment, something I'll never forget. Even my father and my brother, they still talk about that.
Oh, that's unique, very unique. I mean, that's not something everyone else has. That was, I don't know what caused your dad to do that, but it was good. He did you a favor.
Yeah, no, at the time I wasn't too happy with him because it was a brand new yearbook, and I wanted to keep it in nice shape. And when Charlie O, he did a nice clean job, so maybe he knew that I was going to keep it for a lot of years. So he did a nice clean bite. So, but
well, you know what? I think we're the only MLB team to have a live mascot, a live animal for a mascot like that.
I don't remember. Well, you know, your uncle and your father, you know, they were the innovators on a lot of things. I happened to be watching the A's game the other night, and I don't know, it's players uniform. You know, this weekend all the players got to wear their uniforms with their nicknames on the back and really colorful uniforms, and they were talking. The announcers were talking about how neat it was to have those colored uniforms back. And then I think about, you know, your uncle and your dad. You know, the Finleys were the ones that were the multicolored uniforms. They took a lot of flack for that, but it's really revolutionized baseball because everybody wants that now. So they were at the forefront of a lot of things that that now everybody wants to do, and that's why I'm pretty excited that your uncle, and hopefully not short after, your dad will be in the A's Hall of Fame and the National Baseball Hall of Fame, where they belong, both of them.
Thank you. Any innovators have to be prepared to take the flack, but it's worth it in the long run. And I'm excited for the coming week with the Hall of Fame the Oakland Athletics are having, and then you throwing the first pitch just a few days prior. The Hall of Fame will be Wednesday, September 5th, and your first pitch, is it September 2nd?
Correct. It'll be Sunday. Mm-hmm. Coming a week from today, a week from today. It's a day game against the Mariners, so it's going to be a
Mariners.
It's going to be that's the team that's chasing us, and
yes,
we're chasing the Astros. So it's pretty exciting. But another thing I was going to mention, Nancy, is to all the A's fans out there, is this team needs to get out there and support them at the Coliseum, because they're really, really coming on. Got a lot of young stars. It reminds me of the 70s A's when like in 71, when they made the playoffs and they got swept by Baltimore, but they came back. They came back.
Thank you. Yes.
They came back and won 3 in a row, and probably 4 or 5 if it was able to keep that team together. And
we made it in 75. We made it to the playoffs, and that in itself was amazing.
That was amazing. Without
my, yes.
Yes. So this team is very similar to the 70s team, and a lot of homegrown talent, and need to get all the people in the area out there supporting this team, because I think there's really something special going on in Oakland now, and I think people are missing the boat by not going out there and rooting on these young kids, because it's pretty exciting times if you're an Oakland Athletics fan.
Well, school has begun. Next weekend is Labor Day weekend, right?
Correct.
And people are back. There's really, next weekend is the perfect time for people to go, or even just start going and see what this team is all about. Have the new generation see it.
Well, and it's a lot of new ideas, but yet there's a lot of similar. The new leadership for the A's now has really embraced the future and the history and the past history of the A's, as you
I know.
very well
Thank
know.
Goodness. Yes.
The Hall of Fame and the Oakland Athletics Hall of Fame, and done all the 50th ceremonies throughout in honoring a lot of your guys' teams that really put Oakland on the map. So it's pretty exciting times, and there's a man out there that really needs to be recognized. His name is Dave Cavell. He's the president of the Athletics now.
Yes. Thank you, Dave Cavell. Yes.
Yeah, he's done a wonderful job from the short time that he's been running this team, and he's brought a lot of the alumni back, made them welcomed, and it's a neat time. It's a neat time to be an A's fan.
It sure is. And remember how we were both talking about how well the A's were doing, and this was early in the season.
Right.
And I remember you had some predictions, and look what's happened.
Well, I said that they were going to overcome the Mariners and they were going to pass the Astros, and we've tied them one day, and I believe we're still a game back, but I know the Astros are still playing in Anaheim. I don't know how the game finished up, but we're right. They're looking over their shoulder at us. And,
good.
And these kids aren't going to, these kids are ready to play, and they've got a taste of winning. Already the last half of last season, they were playing really good baseball.
They're self-motivated too. I noticed that.
Yes, they are. And the second half of last season, they already played real well, so it kind of carried over. And they didn't get a good start this year because every one of their starting pitchers from opening day was injured, and they had Sean Manaea was the only leftover holdover from the original starting lineup. So I mean, Bob Melvin's done a great job with his team to hold the ship, and so no, it's exciting times, and everybody needs to get out there too to watch that game against the Yankees and see that the Oakland Athletics first inductees of the Hall of Fame. And
yes,
yes,
it's going to have. There will be, in addition to Charlie Finley, Reggie Jackson, Ricky Henderson, Catfish Hunter. So Helen Hunter, his widow, will be there, and Wally Fingers,
and I believe Dave Stewart.
Oh my! So I'm just the company I will be in to represent Charlie.
Yeah. No,
overwhelming.
It'll be pretty exciting. It'd be great for your family, and it's well overdue. So pretty exciting.
Thank you. I think what I wanted to ask you, I noticed the players this season just wouldn't let any setback keep them down for very long versus what happens to other teams. Like look at the Giants. What do you see anything that could attribute to that they did to keep that momentum going?
Well, I think when you have a bunch of younger players,
I
think their memories are a lot shorter. So it doesn't stick. A bad game or a loss doesn't stick with them. Maybe like a veteran team would.
Yes.
And they're youth. You can't replace youth. I mean, other than veteran leadership, you got to have some of those veteran guys on the team. But youth is just something you can't, because naturally, if you got a young team, you should have less injuries. You should have when the season gets into the dog days, September, October, you should have still fresh legs. And I really think that these kids have all played together. They've won together all the way through the minor leagues, and they're just used to winning. And they're not used to being on any prolonged losing streaks. And they're just
great.
You got kids
mindset,
like Matt Chapman. Matt Chapman's going to be who doesn't know. If you don't know him now, you'll know him in a year or two, because that guy's going to be a fixture in the American League All-Star game every year. Matt Chapman will be playing third base just in the near future, because that guy's a 30-40 home run guy, 100 RBI guy, and he's a Gold Glover at third base. So there's a lot of those similarities that, like I said, the 70s A's, with Bando over there, and young Reggie Jackson, and there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of similarities. So I think the youth has really kept them, on an even keel. And, the injury bug has been pretty kind to them. So they've really dodged the injury bug pretty much, other than their starting pitching. So I think that's part of it. And they're not used to, these kids aren't used to losing, because you look at their records all the way through the minors, they've won everywhere they've gone.
I like that. It's a mindset. We're not going to lose. We're not used to it. So therefore,
they're not used to losing.
I like that. Some people make a lot of excuses for losing, but then there are those who just don't want to accept it, and it seems they overcome it.
Right. And then we have our manager, Bob Melvin. I mean, Bob Melvin gets dealt pretty much a new team almost every year. You know what I mean? And
I noticed that. Yeah.
He's had to. He
stays even.
Well, he's a players manager. He backs his players. He's 100% players manager, and he just gels well with that young team, and he's got veterans in there too to help him out, and it's just and you gotta also put a shout out there to the Fisher family, because they when we needed some extra help at the trading deadline, they went out and got Familia, they got Rodney, and they got the kid from the reliever from the Washington Nationals, Kelly. And that really helped have shoring up that bullpen. And then Trinan's an all-star. He's kind of reminds me very similar of Eckersley and Raleigh Fingers. When he comes in, pretty much the game's over. So, thank you to the Fisher family for
yes.
Instead of, they did at the trading deadline, they got rid of no one. They actually added players. So that was pretty exciting, and that's got to be really exciting to management and the players and everybody. So it's a different.
Thank you. Well, that's a very fresh way of looking at it, and I think Fisher family needs people to say that, to honor them and give them credibility for this.
Well, no, they stepped up to the plate when the A's needed help, because they got a good young team. They stepped up to the plate, so they need to be thanked for that, and because that really helped the team, and now's their time. I mean, there's a good chance, Nancy. People might say other, but there's a good chance this team is young, and like I said, they don't know how to lose, and there's a good chance.
That's how we were.
Yeah, there's a good chance that you might see this team playing in October, late in October. So it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yes. Yeah, same here.
We'll see,
and
we'll see how the movie plays out. We'll see how.
I just think I'm just in awe of watching them, because I thought they would make it to the wild card early in May. I remember saying that. I thought there was a chance, just because you can see it with them, just like you. But you run the players down really well. With the parallel to us in the 70s, and then everyone involved. I mean, as you know, when it was time to trade, they certainly could have made a profit on some of those players, and they chose to keep them, and that's what we did.
Yeah,
we did.
Correct.
So it helped create that.
There's a lot of similarities, even though it's almost 50 years in between, but there's a lot of similarities, and it's in baseball, every it's a cycle. You get some good teams, and you got to ride it out as long as you have those players, and as they get older, and if you don't keep just keep changing parts, and then slowly keep the rebuild going. You know what I mean? You can sustain a long period of winning, and that's what the A's are working on, and they're trying to get that new ballpark built, and it's been challenging, but once they get that going and the revenue stream increases, you'll see them retain all these good young talent, and they'll be a force to be reckoned with for many years. That's for sure.
Well, Dennis, you are just like a good luck charm for this team. That's true. I mean, really, you've been with them since they moved to this area, Oakland, and you have a long drive. You commute to see the team.
Yeah, it takes us about an hour and a half, usually an hour and a half, and usually 2 hours, two and a half hours to get back home. But like I said, from a little boy, that was my passion was baseball, and then my passion was the A's. So I've just continued it. I'm 57 years old now, and just kept it going, and it's just something that I've always loved, and I've always studied it, and matter of fact, all my kids are A's fans, and they go to a lot of games, and so
what do they think about their dad? What do they think about this first pitch?
Oh, they're excited. They're pretty excited. Yeah, they just can't believe it, like me. So it's a neat honor. I
see it on Twitter and Facebook. Will it be filmed?
You know what, Nancy? They're going to contact me this week on what the ins and outs of everything about Sunday. So I don't know if it's. I would imagine it might be on their Facebook page. You know,
well, I will be there, and I hope other people will be there, and I hope it's filmed and then put up so people can keep watching. But I just think it's fantastic that you were invited to do this. And,
yeah, it's pretty special. It's pretty special. I'd like to thank the A's for the opportunity because, you know, I always dreamed about doing that, and I told my wife someday I'll be out there throwing the first pitch, and my dream came true. So yeah, I can't wait.
At least it's not like from behind the dugout. The first pitch has morphed over time, and now it's from the yes. Yeah. So you get to
I'll be up there on the mound. I'm going to throw it from the mound, so I'm going to do it just like the big leaders. So
I know.
If all goes well, hopefully it goes over the plate. You know, so I'll do my best.
Yes, and I hope people come out to the Coliseum to see the game, see Dennis's first pitch and the game. And they're in town all weekend.
Yeah, the A's are gonna be home all Labor Day weekend. So they've got a big series. They're gonna be playing Seattle, which Seattle's chasing the A's for the wild card. After Seattle leaves, they're gonna be playing the Bronx Bombers and New York Yankees. So it's gonna be, and then the Hall of Fame. It's gonna be the inaugural Hall of Fame of the Oakland Athletics, and your uncle Charlie Finley is going to be inducted, and you know, I'm just glad that he's on the first class, because the first class over the inaugural, because the man should already be in the baseball writers and the National Baseball Hall of Fame, and his day will come. So we just got to be patient, and his day will come.
Well, on my website I have the Forbes article about both Finleys should be in the Hall of Fame, and then I have a recent article about the current A's and how well they're doing, and it's so my website is OaklandAthleticsHistory.com.
I hope everybody goes to that site and checks it out, Nancy, because you know and you know, as this team progresses through September, October, you know, they're a playoff caliber team, and I know the momentum's just going to keep growing through the season, and it wouldn't surprise me if you know, like especially through Labor Day, that the Coliseum's going to be, you know, inundated with fans. It's going to be just packed. I'm sure, you know, everything. So it's pretty exciting.
Everything. I mean, there will be a sellout. Thank goodness that third deck is open and ready.
Yes.
I mean, seats are there, and it's by the way, that third deck is a really fun place to be. I used to go up there. Yeah, fun place.
So you know firsthand, because as a young girl you were up there, so
doing my homework, and then I could look out at the gorgeous view. So it's
hills and everything. No.
It's a very fun place. Yeah, the A's have a garden now.
Yeah, the farm. Yeah, they have the farm out there. Yeah, they have a lot of neat. You know, they have all the food trucks and just a lot of neat things that people can go check out. I mean, they've really made it. They have the tree house. You can go out there, hang out at the tree house. It's in left field, and have a drink and watch the game and visit with your friends. And there's a lot of neat. People just got to go out there and
make it a social occasion. You know, just I know though when the team gets this close, I'm on the edge of my seat. It's and
it's exciting times. Exciting times to be an A's fan. So
I know. So get out and buy those tickets and get out to the game.
Yeah, because this is playoff baseball every night. So
I've noticed other teams are already talking about, you know, what date their opening day will be in 2019. Well, that's because they know they're not going anywhere now for the rest of the season.
And the A's are opening this year in Japan, so that's kind of
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, they're opening in Japan this year. That'll be their first games in Japan, so that's
Dad and Charlie wanted to play some games in Japan, but they were overruled by the commissioner at that time. And they always thought that Japan would be a great place to play because
there's a lot of great baseball being played there. There's a lot of fans.
Oh, a lot of fans. We used to have a lot of fans come in.
There's a lot of baseball fans in Japan. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. So is Ralph still with us, Nancy, or is he?
Ralph is just letting us do it. By the way, do you think you and I might be in Japan with them?
Oh, that'd be neat.
Oh my gosh. I just remember all the fans from Japan coming in and taking pictures, and that would just be so cool. Ralph left it up to us, and so we should probably end here, but I wanted to thank you for being a guest, and I'm just talking to you gave me goosebumps about this weekend. I can't wait.
Yeah, no, same likewise, Nancy. Thank you. You did an awesome job as a host, and we'll have to tell Ralph that he better not turn it over to you too many times, or you're going to be taking over his job. So
hear that, Ralph. Okay, thank you, Dennis.
Bye, Nancy.
Okay, see you Sunday.
Okay, no problem.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm back. Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. I'm Ralph Tyko. We have Peter Golenbock's University. Jerry Feitelberg is here for a moment or two. Al Blumkin is here. And the reason I'm rushing, Jerry has to go to a concert. Tell us what that's about.
Yeah, we have a concert at my lovely lady Isla's home. We have 85 people in her living room jammed in, and it's the 12th annual musicale from the American Beethoven Society, which is housed at San Jose State University. And they have the winner and the runner-up of the competition every year. We have a 14-year-old young lady who's going to perform for us, and a 17-year-old who is starting Stanford in the fall. These young people are magnificent. Their parents are here recording, and we just finished feeding everybody, and the concert's going to start in about 2 seconds. And I'm going to sign off. I wanted to talk to both of you guys, Peter and Alan, and of course I talk to Ralph every week. But business comes first. So, and whatever you said about Trump is 100%. We talked about it on Thursday. The guy is beyond contempt. Beyond contempt. He does not belong in the office, and the sooner he's out, the better. That's all I have to say. Now I'll talk to you on Thursday, Ralph. Take care.
All right,
Bye-bye.
take care, Jerry.
Be healthy.
Yeah.
We're expecting Robert Cole to join us too, who is returned to these airwaves. Here he is, Robert Cole. How are you, sir? Good. You remember Peter? Peter remembers you.
I certainly do.
Peter, how are you?
Fine, thanks.
And I know you know Alan Blumkin of the network.
Hi, Robert.
Hi, Alan. How are you?
Okay. First of all, I want to congratulate Peter on the raise.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I read that little blurb you put out about them, and that's how I knew you were going to be available tonight.
One of the most exciting, I guess.
I enjoy it because I hate the Red Sox.
Okay. Well, if you hate the Red Sox, you really enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. I loved it. Yeah.
Because the Rays, they won 10-3, 5-1, and today they won 9-1 and made it look easy. It was unbelievable. I mean, the Red Sox are a 90-victory team. This is the creme de la creme of the American League. And the Rays just ate their lunch. It was really, you sat there sort of with your mouth open, and you watched these guys.
Red Sox looked lethargic. They didn't look interested. They looked like they wanted to be anywhere but at the Trop this weekend.
Well, only because the pitchers were throwing 97 miles an hour and they couldn't much hit them. What did they get today? 2 hits? I think so.
Yeah, he also dumped Chris Archer on my team.
We dumped Chris Archer. Yeah, we dumped Chris Archer.
And the Pirate fans will hate him already.
Well, they should hate him already.
I know, yeah.
Chris Archer is somebody who loves to talk about how terrific he is.
He's a total underachiever.
He is a total underachiever. He's a 500 pitcher. Actually, if you look at his record, he's
not even that good.
A 400 pitcher.
Yeah.
I mean, he's capable of it. He's pitched some marvelous games, but too often his control is not very good, and he gets whacked. And we got for Archer some marvelous young players.
No, Austin Meadows should be very good for you, and Glasnow with the Pirates, he was too good for AAA and not good enough for the majors.
Well, Glasnow right now is a superstar. He comes in, he pitches, 4 innings, strikes out 11. I mean, the guy's just magnificent. The guy. We have a very fine staff of coaches with the Tampa Bay Rays. And Kyle Snyder is our pitching coach, and I don't know how it is, but we have an entire roster of rookies, many of whom throw between 95 and 100 miles an hour, and I don't know how they do it, but they throw strikes. And it has
and add to that Romo with the off-speed stuff.
Well, add to that Romo we thought was terrible. We said to ourselves, what is this guy even doing in the major leagues? And our manager, Kevin Cash, said to us, you're wrong, I'm right, this guy is going to be our closer. Because as you know, out in San Francisco, he won 3 pennants for the Giants as their closer. And he has come in this year with 2 exceptions, and he has been absolutely spectacular, throwing the worst crap you can imagine. He throws, 85, 86 miles an hour. He throws junk, but he keeps the batters,
off balance.
Off balance, and then they just can't catch up with it. And he saves game after game after game after game. He's just been something. And it doesn't matter. Every game he goes out there.
After the batters see 98 and 99 for 6-7 innings.
That's right.
It's like the Yankees when they used to throw a low-pat between Reggie and Reynolds.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. But we traded away. Let's see, who did we trade away? We traded Eovaldi to the Red Sox.
He got bumped today.
Yeah. And we got Jalen Beeks, who was their number 1 prospect. Now, obviously, the Red Sox did not want to use a prospect in their pennant race. And so they traded us Jalen Beeks, who turns out to be utterly sensational. After getting clocked in the first game, Beeks has now either won 3 or 4 games for us. He's pitched from the 3rd inning to the 7th inning, pretty much shutting them out, give up a run or 2. But he's been winning games, and he has just been utterly spectacular. I mean, we're getting these guys from
the Red Sox. 2 of his wins have been against the Red Sox.
Yes, they have.
To make him feel good.
Absolutely, they have. It's the whole thing. The whole thing is just stunning.
We were talking off the air, Peter and I. It could be a 90-win season. Robert Cole, did you expect that? You're a Tampa Bay apologist, not an outright fan.
An apologist? No, fan from day one. Come on now.
Oh, okay.
Never
I know your Met allegiance, and I know your Brooklyn Dodger allegiance. But now, if the Mets played the Rays tomorrow, what would you? It wouldn't mean much to the Rays. You have to go.
Every time that they played against
to the Mets, rather.
Yeah, every time the Mets and Rays have played, it's been a matter of who it's more important to. Okay, if it's more important to the Rays, then I absolutely root for the Rays. If it's more important for the Mets, then I root for the Mets, and that's the way I've handled it. So
yeah.
Well, this has been quite a week for the Mets as well. Here's a team. Well, except for 13-0 loss to Washington today.
Well, they gave up 14 runs in the last 2 innings. Matz was out of there, but gave up 1 run in 7 innings. They pulled them as usual, and the relievers, gave up 14 runs in 2 innings.
Wow. And that's pretty impressive. A big shot because they've been terrific for the past 3 or 4 weeks, maybe more.
They have,
but they couldn't use their top guys, Lugo and Giselman, because they've used them the last couple of nights.
Right.
They had to bring in guys like Seawald, and he got lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Well, but it's nice to know the Mets are not terrible. The
They're
Mets are,
at
the moment, probably a 500 team at the moment.
I don't think they've gotten back to 500. But
no, it's just that they were really bad before, and they seem to be on something of a winning streak, which could very well bring them back to 500.
By the end of the year, we're talking about
they're 14 games under. They're not getting to 500.
Oh, they're 14 games under.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But how do you feel that the baseball fans of the world feel about ESPN putting the Orioles on tonight?
Well, it's the only game.
Yeah, well, they scheduled
It's the only game. Why would they not put them on? It's the only game in the schedule. New York against Baltimore. Every other game has been played.
I know.
Right now.
They get monopolies on Sunday night, but even scheduling the Orioles, because beginning of the season, I guess people didn't think they would be that bad, but they knew they were going to be bad.
Al, they're not scheduling the Orioles, they're scheduling the Yankees.
I know that. We know that, yeah.
At a spring training, the Orioles were supposed to compete in the American League East. At a spring training. Okay,
what do you guys think of Buck Showalter? What's his overall report card? Start with you, Peter.
Hey, I think the guy's a fabulous manager. I think his pitching staff is injured and the whole thing is just falling apart. But he's one of the very best managers in the major leagues. He's a terrific manager. Not his.
Robert, an opinion?
Yeah, this isn't him. I mean, they brought in 2 starters very, very late.
The Cashner is terrible before they brought him in.
Well, yeah, but, they brought 2 guys in, Alex Cobb being one of them.
Yeah, Cashner was the other one. He was horrible before they signed him.
Well,
Cobb's another X-ray. And look at the players the Rays get rid of. They get rid of them for a reason. They get rid of Archer for a reason. Because other teams think more of this guy than our realistic executives.
Well, Pirate fans, being in the National League, weren't used to him, and I thought maybe when he came over, switching leagues would help, but it hasn't.
Well, Archer will pitch one really terrific game, and then one really terrible game, and then one really mediocre game, and you never quite know what's coming. And I don't know what happened to Cobb. Cobb right now is 3-14? How the hell did that happen?
4-6. Well, he signed late. He signed with the Orioles. He actually pitched a complete game last week.
He did.
Against the Indians. He pitched a complete game in Cleveland against the Indians. But, you pitch for a team like this, it's very easy to get discouraged. Look at Cole Hamels. He went, he was pitching for Texas where it's 100 degrees, and for a team that's bad, he goes to the Cubs, and all of a sudden he's lights out again.
Well, take a look right now. A guy none of you probably ever heard of. A guy named Mike Fiers. F-I-E-R-S.
Yeah, he's on the A's now. Yeah.
The number 4 starter for Detroit.
Yeah.
And I always thought the world of this kid, but I always thought that Detroit was sort of a very mediocre team. And he has since gone off to Oakland, and he's just lit up the place.
Yeah.
He's been fantastic throwing shutouts in 1-run games.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
It makes a difference. It makes a difference when you feel you're playing for something against feeling you're playing for nothing.
Without a doubt. It does.
Let me give you a little A's update today. Sean Manaea became the 5th A's starter. He's got shoulder problems. He's on the DL. Shoulder problems are, to me, that's a big alarm. And they have done this with baling wire. Cahill, comes back. Anderson, they were both originally A's. A lot of injuries. They picked up Jackson as a pitcher.
Oh, Jackson was a tremendous pickup. I mean, Jackson's played for 14 different teams, but he's pitching great for Oakland.
He was 98 and 120 when time when they picked him up.
Edwin Jackson. You got a guy named Chris Bassett who won today. Bassett, he didn't get the win today. He only went 4 2/3, but he pitched beautifully. Yeah. And then, of course, you've got the Tampa Bay's Fernando Rodney in the bullpen now, which is terrific. And
he's only been at 8 teams. I checked him out when he went to the A's. And I checked him out on reference. He's only been at 8 teams. He's got a lot of catching up to do.
And they've got Familia.
Yeah, from the Mets.
Yeah, to a very, very good bullpen. Tyrion, however.
Tyrion has got an ERA of 0.9.
Fine, yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know it. My Matt Chapman today, he's on my
very
rotisserie
exciting
team.
center fielder with a name that sounds like Laureate.
Yeah, Ramon Laureano, without a doubt. Yep.
What an arm this guy has. He's
really
a highlight film for his arm, and he's hitting. Lowry's terrific. Simeon is becoming a very, very good shortstop.
Yep.
The best fielding third baseman, shy of Arrieta on Colorado.
Arenado.
Is
Arenado, yeah.
Matt Chapman. Yep.
Matt Chapman. Oh my God, he's a miracle man, and we've all seen them all from Clete Boyer, Billy Cox. You can talk to him. Even with the A's, we had a guy who's going to be the next manager of the Angels.
Eric Chavez.
Eric Chavez.
Yeah, he was the Yankees for a little while.
Clubs.
Yeah.
Chapman makes you go, whoa, forget about it.
And you have the right Chris Davis. Not the wrong one.
You have the good Chris Davis.
Yeah.
The Baltimore one's the wrong one.
Yeah.
And you have my boy Matt Olson at first base. So.
Right, who's a slick fielding first baseman.
Yes,
and
he is.
Chapman gets a little erratic. This guy pulls stuff out, really picks them. And a good catcher. They're just a miracle team, but I give Billy Beane an awful lot of credit, just like you have to give Tampa Bay an awful lot of credit.
Yep.
Most bang for the bucks.
Yep.
If you look at their payroll next to the Yankees and the Red Sox should be embarrassed losing to anybody.
You know, the Tampa Bay Rays salary starting next year is going to be something like for the entire team, $35 million.
Oh,
it's astounding. It's utterly astounding. Almost the entire team, or about 4/5 of the team, are low-paid rookies. It's amazing, and these guys are fabulous.
You know, if you're a GM, there are 3 or 4 facets to it. There's scouting, player development, but all those things. But you know, the most important thing is money management.
Yeah, evaluating talent. Because you got a bunch of free agent signings that this year, in particular, worked out very, very bad. I put on one of the sites after last year's World Series that some team is going to grossly overpay you Darvish. I didn't think it was going to be the Cubs, but I knew after he blew up in the World Series last year that some team was going to. Thought they needed pitching, was going to pay him an awful lot of money. The guy's been on the DL the whole year.
And that's the problem with paying pitchers for more than 2 years.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the line, that pitcher's going to end up with an arm injury.
Yeah, or
especially guys who throw over 95 miles an hour. You can't throw a million pitches at 95 miles an hour and not end up with an arm injury. You just can't do it.
Cincinnati is starting this pitcher Homer Bailey, who's 1-12 in the ERA of over 6, because they're paying him $18 million a year.
That's
contract
right.
They signed him to 2 years ago.
How old is Homer Bailey?
He's not old.
Not old.
I guess he'd be in his 20s, his late 20s at this point.
Because the one thing that teams are discovering, and it's why you don't have these long-term contracts the way they gave to A-Rod. They gave A-Rod, 7 years for $250 million when A-Rod was 33 years old. They're not doing it anymore because they have discovered in this game nowadays that so many pitchers throw 95 to 100 that the guys who were 31, 32, and 33 no longer can hit.
Well, somebody brought up today, which is a case I haven't thought about in a long time. Troy Tulowitzki hasn't played a game since sometime last season.
Yeah.
And they're paying him $30 million for doing nothing this year. He still has 2 more years to go on his deal.
Yep.
And he has they said he has a $4 million buyout.
Well, but fortunately for a lot of these teams, they also take out insurance.
I know that. Yankees did that with Ellsbury, who's
so the
been
insurance companies
Yeah.
end up paying the piper. Is what
Yeah.
happens. No, I know it.
Yeah, Homer Bailey's 32.
There you go.
Thank you.
Homer Bailey's 32.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was that old. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, he's
Anybody who's older than 30 is suspect.
Yeah.
Well, then you could say he's made it that long and hasn't been injured, too. There's something to be said for that.
Yeah, but how you pitch a guy like this stage in the season? How you pitch somebody like this as a starter?
Because they don't have anybody else.
Doesn't matter. Even the worst pitcher they have in AAA has to be better than him.
Well, they have this thing about not wanting to rush guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It is the strangest thing that they'd rather. Which team are we talking about now?
Cincinnati.
Homer Bailey, Cincinnati. Well, they're down in the dumps, right?
Yeah, I know.
So it doesn't
over,
matter.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
Why does it matter whether they lose another ball game or not? It doesn't make
so
sense.
If you're pitching him against a team like the Cubs today, it does matter. Because the Cardinals, ever since they fired...
Milwaukee's making a bid for Harvey, or maybe decided not to. But they're even considering it, getting him from Cincinnati. He's got like a 491.
So he's going to walk here.
Yeah, well,
and
the scouts watch Harvey pitch, and they see how talented he is. The guy's incredibly talented. And they're hoping, upon hope, that if they could sign him, that their pitching coaches can somehow, give him the control that he used to have, and that he'll be great again. And then that's how some of these teams work. And unfortunately, what happens?
Speaking of great, Robert Cole, Met fan, Met podcaster, tell us about the year that DeGrom is having for the Mets.
Oh, he's having a fantastic year. Should be a Cy Young year, except that, we don't know how the voters are going to vote. But DeGrom...
Well, they're not going to vote for him because he doesn't have enough wins.
Well, don't be so sure. I'm telling you this,
I think the front runner is Nola on the Phillies right now.
Yeah, but in last week the Phillies and Mets played. Nola pitched on Friday night. Pitched well, but not outstanding.
Oh, he beat Scherzer 2-0. I think it was Thursday.
DeGrom pitched. Yeah, but DeGrom pitched the following day after Nola pitched, and pitched fabulously. So
Yeah, but he lost because he gave up an earned run. Yeah.
No, you're talking about two different times. I'm talking.
No, when he pitched against the Giants the other day.
Yeah, I'm talking about last week against the Phillies.
No.
When DeGrom pitched.
Was I conflicted in that game? Bumgarner, DeGrom, my New York Giants, my boyhood team. I've been an apologist living out in California all these years, and they're playing the Mets with DeGrom. That was a trip.
Another team that's playing unbelievably right now is the Cardinals. Ever since they fired Matheny, they've been on fire.
Yeah, I wonder what that's all about. What was the problem with Matheny?
I guess he couldn't relate to the players anymore. They were tuning him out.
Wow.
And they were playing bad for the Cardinals. They were playing bad fundamental ball.
I see.
Here's a man who never played professional baseball at all on any level.
Who's Schill, or whatever his name is?
Yeah.
The interim manager there?
New guy, the new manager.
Yeah, I never heard of him until the day Matheny was fired, and they said he was the bench coach. I never heard of the guy.
Well, I think with managers now, it's more important that the managers get along with the players than anything else. I think that's the thing that we've learned, that the Billy Martins and the Earl Weavers and the Martinets and the guys who are always, criticizing the baseball players, those, I think their day is over. Guys like Kevin Cash of the Tampa Bay Rays, who was such a cheerleader, who is always positive. I mean, no matter what happens, they could lose the game 10-0, and he would find the positives of the particular ball game, or he would basically say, "Oh well, on to the next one." And
Aaron Boone is like that.
Aaron Boone is just like that.
Yeah.
And you know who else is like that? The Red Sox manager is like that too.
Alex Cora. Yeah.
Cora. Yeah. And this is what you're getting now.
Bochy is a player's manager and a really good one.
Oh, players love him. Absolutely love him. No two ways about it.
Dusty was too. Dusty got a bad deal in Washington.
Terrible deal. They never should have fired him. Never. Stupid. Stupid. You know, the one guy who's the crusty guy who's left is Mike Scioscia of Los Angeles. He's the last of the crusties.
And he's rumored to be gone.
Yes. Yes, he is. He is rumored to this be his last year. It's interesting. Because when we had Joe Madden before he went to the Cubs, he was one of those guys too. He gave guys nicknames, he took them out to dinner, he had conversations with them all the time, sent them emails, sent them texts, always stayed in touch with all of those players. And he knitted that team into a team that actually ended up going to the World Series in 2008. Which is something that none of us ever expected. And then, of course, he went to the Cubs, and he took the Cubs to the World Series, which was something that nobody in the entire country ever expected. So, it works.
Would you speak to Bob Lemon, Peter, and his managerial stint with the Yankees, and had his son not tragically died in, I think it was a motorcycle.
It was a hang gliding accident, I think.
Okay, yeah. But when you said he reminds me of Madden, or Madden reminds me of him in the sense that he always had this sly little grin on his face, like he was enjoying it and wanting his players to enjoy it. And he was between Billy Martins, so that it was almost smooth sailing. Do I remember that correctly?
You remember it. You certainly remember it, mostly correctly. I mean, part of the problem was that as long as Billy Martin was the manager, George Steinbrenner was going to light a fire. He's going to set his feet on fire to the point where he was going to, make Billy, all sorts of degrees of crazy. He was always criticizing Billy. He was always second-guessing Billy. He was doing things like firing his pitching coach when he got mad at Billy, to the point where, Billy was the sort of person who needed calm. And as long as he was managing for George Steinbrenner, he never, ever got it. Not ever. And it was, as he was hired by Steinbrenner 5 times and fired by Steinbrenner 5 times. It sort of reminds me of the political situation with Donald Trump and Paul Manafort and Michael Cohen and all of these people. Steinbrenner just drives everybody crazy the way Trump drives everybody crazy.
I was just going to ask you if you thought there was an analogy between Steinbrenner and Trump. Yeah.
They were close friends. They were close friends.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They were close friends. They were both equally evil. I think Steinbrenner was incredibly evil. But Steinbrenner enjoyed making people crazy, making them into either alcoholics or drug addicts, or just taking a guy like Billy Martin and telling Billy, who was perhaps the best manager in baseball, that George knew more about managing than he did, which just used to drive Billy absolutely out of his mind.
I once read a quote by Bob Lemon when he was talking about his playing career. He said he never carried a game over with him, past he'd leave it in the bar somewhere that night.
Are you talking about Bob, or are you talking about
Bob Lemon?
Oh yeah,
you never carry a game over from one day to the next. Yeah.
See, once Billy quit and Bob Lemon took over in 1978.
Yeah, they went crazy.
The Sturm and Drang was over.
Yeah. Because
the difference was, of course, is that Steinbrenner would criticize Billy in the papers, and Billy would go back to the reporters and tell everybody, what an idiot Steinbrenner was. And you do that enough times, and you get fired. It's like Trump. You can't say something bad about Trump in a tweet or in the newspapers because you get yourself fired. Steinbrenner was like that. And Lemon never criticized Steinbrenner, not ever. It wasn't important.
You're right. But Pinella was another hothead who Steinbrenner got rid of,
Who was that?
Lou Pinella.
Oh,
a couple of times, yeah.
That was never going to work. But Lemon was a very sweet guy.
Yeah, I know,
He let the things roll off his back, and he said to the players, look, you're very good players. I'm going to put your name in the lineup. Go out and play.
Have fun.
And they were down.
Yes.
They were down by 14 games in 1978. They were 14 games behind the Red Sox, and they caught them. And they caught them because Don Zimmer hated Bill Lee. I mean, that's how stupid it got. I mean, Bill Lee called Don Zimmer a gerbil.
Yeah, I know that, yeah.
And Zimmer decided, hey, we can win this goddamn pennant without Bill Lee. And he sat him for 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And as the season wound down, the Yankees caught him. They caught him. If he had pitched Lee, they would have won the pennant by 3 or 4 games. It was just goddamn stupid.
Well, that's what excuse me, Charlie Dressen did with Crum Line for this month of 1951.
No, absolutely right. No, I know.
Yeah.
No, it's just ridiculous. And so Lemon just let the guys play. And they played, and they tied the Red Sox.
Let me ask you guys.
What?
Steinbrenner had some redeeming qualities. Some. Can you name anything redeeming about Donald Trump?
No.
I'm trying to think of redeeming quality about Steinbrenner. Don't forget.
Well,
Let me
that's
interrupt
hard
you
enough,
for a second.
but I can think
Hang
of
on.
some with Steinbrenner.
Hang on a second. There are 2 times the Yankees won. They were 20 years apart. The 2 times the Yankees won, it was because Steinbrenner had been thrown out of baseball for life. The first time for Watergate crimes, and the second time for paying money to a guy, Howie Spira, who was giving information to Steinbrenner about his star player, Dave Winfield. And both times he got thrown out of baseball for life, and he ended up serving 2 years out of baseball. And during those 2 years, the first time, the general manager, from Cleveland.
Gabe Paul.
Gabe Paul put together that team that won him all those pennants in 76, 77, 78, and 81. And then the second time that Steinbrenner was out for the
Gene Michael
put together the team with those 5 wonderful players, including Jeter, including Bernie Williams, including Andy Pettitte, including their catcher, including Mariano Rivera.
Yeah, Jorge Posada,
Posada, and that team won a whole bunch of pennants. And that was because Steinbrenner was gone. Had Steinbrenner been there, it's conceivable. It's conceivable he could have gone 28 years without winning anything. And that's because Steinbrenner was convinced that he knew more about the game than his general managers did. And he would trade away every single Yankee prospect. And I mean, there were a lot of them. For over-the-hill.
Remember?
Well, I was just going to bring that up. In the greatest
from Seinfeld about
that
George.
ever was. George Steinbrenner goes. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
George Steinbrenner goes over to George Costanza's parents' house to tell him that George is dead. And first thing that George's father says to Steinbrenner is, "Why did you trade Jay Buhner?" And it's 20 years later, and I'm still laughing like a son of a gun.
I think the worst of all of them was when they sent Willie McGee to the Cardinals for a pitcher named Bob Sykes. So I don't even know if he ever threw a ball in anger for that.
I don't think that he ever did. It was a terrible, terrible trade.
Yeah.
And this is what Steinbrenner was doing. You know, people do not remember that before he was put out of baseball for 2 years, he did things like build the Yankees on speed. He had a first baseman who was about 5'8". You know, they were just terrible, and the fans would boo Steinbrenner. They would bring anti-Steinbrenner signs to the ballpark.
That's when they let Reggie Jackson walk, and they signed like this guy from Cincinnati, Dave Collins, who would do nothing but run.
That's him. He was the first baseman on that team.
Yeah.
He did nothing but run, but unfortunately, the pressure of playing in New York got to him, and he was terrible. And the fans.
He was a pretty good ball player with Cincinnati, if I remember.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. But it's not.
That's known as
Whitson.
Here, it's known as Whitson disease.
Yes. Well, Whitson's problem was Billy. Billy and Whitson did not get along, and they ended up in a fight where Whitson kicked Billy in the ribs and broke 2 of his ribs and broke his arm. That was Whitson. And that was Billy. And that was also in part because Steinbrenner was driving Billy crazy. It made him crazy.
Look what he did to Sparky Lyle.
He
did to Sparky Lyle after that Cy Young season.
Well, yes, and that became the Bronx Zoo, which you know, that was the highlight of my writing career because of what Steinbrenner did to Sparky Lyle. Absolutely. You know, I had no idea when I started to write. He paid $2 million.
What do you guys have to say about the way Goose perceives the game today? Start with Robert Cole. Hello,
Robert. You there? Oh, Robert's disappeared on us, I think.
Okay. Start with you then, Al Blumkin.
Well, I think to some extent he's right. I know you did at least one that I was on, and maybe the second one last week when I wasn't, with Hal Bach. Where's the game gone?
Yeah.
And all this stuff. I mean, plenty of people, O-line people were upset by these uniforms that they had this weekend. And the fact that the way they use pitchers and the way they evaluate, I mean, any system that has the WAR system, any system that has Bobby Grich like one of the top 30 players ever, to me is warped.
I don't know what you're talking about. What does Bobby Grich have to do?
No, because with the warheads, the Brian Kennys of the world.
Oh, WAR. Oh,
WAR.
Yes.
Was WAR good for absolutely nothing?
Absolutely nothing. I would ignore that entirely. That's the most ridiculous nonsense. Let me tell you, baseball right now, right this minute, is the greatest game that has ever been, ever. They've got more fabulous athletes out there. They've got more top pitchers than you've ever seen in your entire life. You've got outfielders who can run like the wind. You've got shortstops who look like they belong in the freaking ballet. I mean, I go to.
You don't think the analytics have hurt the game?
I can take the analytics and put them where the sun doesn't shine. But I'll tell you something. What the Rays are doing makes a certain amount of sense. And I wasn't for it at the beginning, which is to say you don't want a pitcher to face the other team 3 times, because according to the stats, the first time they hit 180, the second time up they hit 256, and the third time they hit 380. So you don't want them facing that pitcher facing the other team 3 times. So what the Rays have been doing is starting a relief pitcher and pitching him the first 2 innings. And then the starter goes from the 3 to the 7th, faces the lineup twice, leaves, and more relievers come in and finish. And we started saying, gee, I don't know if this is going to work. But I'll tell you what, it works. It works great. The Rays have won 9 games in a row. The Rays right now have
You got a hell of
games.
a strong bullpen then.
And nobody has a bullpen like our bullpen. Nobody. These guys are tops. T-O-P-S, tops. And I've seen, I've seen a lot of ball games here at the Trop. So I've seen a lot of teams and see what they have. Nobody has a relief staff like these guys. I have no idea how the Tampa Bay executives managed to find all these guys. But it is stunning to watch. And I don't care if the people out there don't like the system. They can go jump in the lake. My team is winning ball games, and that's all I care about.
This is the most excited.
Look, it's better than paying out $25 million a year to a free agent who stinks.
It certainly makes a lot more sense than that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, when the Rays got rid of all their star players in April, they started getting rid of them 1 at a time, 2, 3, 4, getting rid of these guys. I thought to myself, oh my gosh, what is going on? And then these kids came up. Bauer.
Yeah, but they knew what they were getting.
They knew what they were getting.
You got the same thing on the other side of the stake with the Marlins. They got rid of everybody and didn't know what they were getting.
That's right. That's exactly right. But what they were doing with the Marlins, they were just shedding salary. That's all they were doing.
Yeah.
We thought that's what our guys were doing, but that's not what they were doing. What they were doing is accumulating the finest collection of rookies that I have ever seen. This guy Bowers at first. Our shortstop is just tremendous.
You got a catcher to replace Wilson.
Our catcher Perez looks to be as good as the Buffalo was, which was amazing. When they got rid of the Buffalo Wilson Ramos, we thought, Jesus, how terrible this is. This kid has shown up and he's almost as good. And all these guys are hitting 280. A lot of these guys are hitting 280. I mean, Bowers is hitting 209, but he'll come around, and he's a fine fielding first baseman. And then Kiermaier is a fabulous center fielder. This guy,
oh
Tommy
my God,
Pham,
he makes a play a week. He jumps over the fence once a week.
And we got a guy named Malik Smith, who I thought was a minor leaguer. He's no minor leaguer. He's hitting 400 this month. The guy's fantastic. And Matt Duffy is everything you said he would be. Matt Duffy's the captain of this team, and I'll tell you what, you said that the Rays could win 90 games. It's certainly possible. It wouldn't surprise me. The pitching is that good. And I got to go.
Well,
I'm exhausted.
One other thing. You mentioned Matt Duffy. That falls under the category of the intangibles, and we can talk about that in another show. Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Robert Cole.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Certainly the pleasure of yours truly.
Thank you, Ralph, and thank you for putting those 2 podcasts up I did Friday. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. Are you kidding me? What a network we have. Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. Robert Cole from the New York Mets show was here, and Alan Blumkin from about 7 different shows on the network.
Yeah, before I let you go, I just want to ask you one thing. Did you listen to the one I did with David Nemec?
I haven't yet.
It's very educational. I let him do most of the talking because he's the authority on the 19th century.
Well, as you mentioned in your memo to me, I learned. Alan Blumkin, who knows it all, still keeps learning.
I'll never know it all. That's what keeps me going. Okay.
Beautiful. And we
Take care.
want you to keep going.
Okay.
Adios, everybody. Thank you for listening. Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. Thank you to the first segment. We had Nancy Finley hosted it, and she had a very, very special guest. So thank her, and adios, everybody. Bye.
Bye.